Yo, do you remember the dream life you built for yourself by the time you're 25?
Yeah. Let's all laugh at that together.
Now you're 30 something and you don't have the car,
The job,
The business,
the spouse, and feeling a little like a mess.
we're here to tell you you're still on track to that dream and doing just fine. I'm Beleza.
I'm Kiki.
I'm Gigi, and this is your podcast. Welcome.
Welcome to 30 and a Mess. What up, y'all? It's your girl Beleza.
It's your girl Kiki.
And it's your girl Gigi.
Yo,
And if you're still tuning in another week, I'm pretty sure your life is still in shambles. Welcome.
Yo, welcome. It's in shambles, y'all. We're getting it together.
We are one day at a time, one Monday at a time.
Yes. How was y'all weekend?
Oh, my weekend was good. I had a good weekend.
Ooh, saying it like that. Okay.
Good. I think my weekend was really good because I made a lot of decisions that I needed to make.
Oh, okay.
Like you know how there's things that we have to do that we don't really want to do because it's better to like just stay where we are and kind of like be where we are. But this weekend I definitely made some decisions that
she says I chose not to be complacent.
Yes, I can't be complacent no longer.
I know that's right. Yeah, my weekend was straight. I just enjoyed life. I just enjoyed.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's the first weekend I didn't do any work.
What?
Like on anything, nothing personal.
What?
Business. Just actually did nothing.
Nah, that's an imposter talking right there.
Right?
Because you want hardworking lady. What about you, Kiki?
My weekend was lovely. I'm just receiving good news on good news on good news. So
I know that's right. I know that's right.
Okay.
Well, I'm so happy you got good news. I'm so happy you got a chance to rest. And I'm so happy that I made the decisions I needed to make. So getting into today's episode, we're gonna be talking about how does your money really match your swag? Like the money that you have in your mind, does it match your bank account? Like, do you have do those numbers match up for you?
Like the Mega Millions money?
Like the
That's what's in my head.
I'm about to slut myself out to the window, and I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you're not. I'll be right there with you.
Nah, that sounds like an empty road. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Smart woman.
So, to get into today's episode, I wanted to start off with how where we started. It was just the Paneria, how it has affected you.
That pizzeria, man.
And your financially, like, we're still reeling from that. Like even now, like we got monkeypox on the rise. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on. So how has that time period affected your bag? Like how is it affecting you?
I'm not gonna hold you. It was very unfortunate. I know for a lot of people, but my bag kept growing. I got a few promotions that gave me a huge increase. And so, I mean, it was definitely a blessing on my end.
Yeah, I would say the same. I know it was unfortunate for a lot of people. During that time, I actually picked up another job, so I was using the second income to help me with paying off debt, and I did get promoted within that time frame as well.
That's dope. So for me, same, like I leveled up. Like I definitely took that time. Like, during it, I was like sleeping, watching movies, having a grand time. But when it was really time to like kick it into gear, I had enough energy, emotionally, physically, mentally, to actually kick it into gear. And I got promoted and moved, and like my bag was affected positively.
It was
in abundance, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much, God, for that. Like, thank you, God.
Absolutely.
So, like, do you want to be like, which one do you want to be? Do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be rich? Or do you feel like you're well off? Like, which of those, or are they kind of like synonymous?
So, I'm going to say I want to be wealthy. I think my pockets are healthy.
Okay.
But I do still feel like my pockets need it needs some replenishment every now and then. Just because for me trying to get to wealth, it's like if I'm trying to get to wealth in the amount of time that,
Yeah.
wealth takes a while, but I have to start working on it now. So even though my pockets are healthy, I'm taking that extra money
Yep.
and putting it, to Kiki's point, to like debt and putting it in like investments and things like that. So it's like that I don't see that money.
Yeah. Yeah. So like for me, I feel like I'm well off. I'm not where I used to be. Let me not start singing. I don't want nobody's ears to be bleeding. But I'm not where I used to be. And so for me, I'm well off, but I still have those terrible habits that, keep you in poverty. I have some of those habits that I'm still trying to break. It's not easy. It's not easy like changing up how your mindset.
Well, what are those habits? Break it down for the people.
So some of the habits would be like, for example, you can't take the money when you die. That was a phrase my mom used to always say, and I think that's toxic as hell. That's some toxic ass behavior. Like, so I have like a habit of like when I have money, I feel like I gotta spend it all, like to the last piece of penny. I gotta spend it. Like if they had penny candy, you probably would see me at the stores buying penny candy. Like it's that kind of level. And then another habit I have is like I like to spend before I get it. Shout out to Kanye. Like it's a habit, and I'm trying to break that habit. What else?
Wait, just to ask you real quick, Gigi, when you say spend before I get it, so do you be using like, do y'all know of those, like, how it's like, oh, you can make 5 payments, but go ahead and purchase the whole thing?
Oh no, I ain't using
like
no Clear or no
Clearer,
Clearna or no, what's that other thing called?
I forgot the other one.
Affirm.
There we go.
I'm not using any of those. No,
Oh,
I have been fortunate to have a good credit score, and I have high limit credit cards, so that's why I'm spending before I get it. Because like when you use your credit card, you gotta pay that back, or else they're gonna hem you up.
Them interest, man.
That interest, yeah.
It's you like Muhammad Ali.
So it's the introductory ones I'll be using because like I got 15 months of 0 APR.
I got you.
Interest, so like I don't have to worry about interest as long as I pay. As long as I pay it within that 15-month or 18-month, whichever card I'm looking at the time. As long as I pay it within that introductory period, I won't get charged that 27% interest rate.
For real though.
So yeah, I think I'm well off, but I want to be wealthy one day. And yes, there's very much a difference between wealthy, well off, and rich. Very much.
Yes.
Very much.
Yeah, for me, I think it just depends on whatever everybody's definition of wealthy, rich, and well off. So for like me, I do not think I'm well off, but I'm getting there. And that's just a matter of my own habits that I'm trying to break and trying to figure out an algorithm to it. But for me, well off to me means you're not living paycheck to paycheck. Is not, if something was to happen tomorrow, I should be able to handle that payment or be able to drop everything and do whatever I need to do. Or I can go on a trip, I can plan out a trip and not have it affect anything that's going on with my bills or anything like that. I don't feel like I'm there at all. So no, I don't feel that I'm well off or wealthy. I do want to be wealthy one day. And all the avenues that I'm taking today is to ensure that I will be. Of course, my goal is to be debt free before I'm 35 and to be wealthy before I'm 40. So y'all follow me on them journeys. But as of right now, no, I can't say that I'm either one of those.
That's what I said. That's why I was like, I won't say well off, but I said my pockets are healthy.
Yeah, my pockets are not healthy, so I can't even say that. But also, some people, that's real. That's me keeping it a bug. But I also can say, some people put well off to their credit score, and if I was to look at it that way, my credit score is wonderful. I have a great credit score, but I ain't got no money in my pockets the way I would like to have the money in my pockets.
Yeah, we gotta get you to leverage somebody else's money. That's what we gotta do. Because
once
you leverage somebody else's money, you're gonna make your money, whether they like it or not.
Right. Exactly. So those are the things I'm trying to figure out.
Where do you see, like, what was your because I know I touched on it briefly about like the motto my mom used to live by. Like, what is some of your financial upbringing? Like some of the terms or like way you saw your parents handling finances that you think affect you now?
So I'm gonna keep it a buck. My father was horrible with money. He got his check, gave it to my mom because He couldn't. No, he was always on a get rich quick something. He thought he can always flip it. Like, bruh, we ain't no doughboys. Like, no, he's not having. So to be honest, I got a lot of, but my father was great with numbers. Like he's great in mathematics. So when it came to numbers and stuff, he taught me a lot about numbers. The same with my mom, but my mom taught me the habits of how to pay bills, how to budget, what to do. She actually started young. She started us young. Like we would have like little side hustles where we like would sell stickers at school because we had like a printer back in the day.
Aww.
So we would like create it on our little Microsoft Word thing.
Yes.
And then we would like print out, we would go to Staples, shout out to Staples, and print out like labels. And then we would sell them for like 10 cents. But then my mom was like, oh, well, you forgot about ink. And I buy the ink. So you guys have to pay me 5 cents of your 10 cents. So instead of doing that, we upped the Addy to 25 cents. But then we realized 25 cents was too much for our customers. And so we like adjusted it between 15 and we adjusted it from 10 cents to 15 cents, depending if you wanted color or black stickers. Like it was interesting, but like that kind of showed me gross margin without knowing the word gross margin.
Yeah.
And profit and loss. But my mom would always be like, oh, hold up, you using my stuff, I want to cut too. We'll be like, wait a minute. And then also when it came to paying bills, you know, we're all workers. We were the latch kids. Y'all heard of the term latch kids?
I have not.
Latchkey
kids? I heard it on
What's a
Instagram
latch kid?
the other day. A latch kid is like, you know, your parents are working, but you know, you have to lock the door when you get home.
Oh,
so they get home.
Kid.
They
I was like, that's what I said. I was like, I didn't know there was a term for it.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
We didn't call it a latch kid. We just stayed our ass in the house.
Stay your ass in the house. Don't open the door for nobody. Don't answer the door. Like, if you think you know them, don't answer the door. Don't go near the door.
If you don't hear my voice come through that door,
I got my key. And I got my own self in the house.
Right. But again, with the latch, you open the door, you hear the voice, and then all right, I'll open the door for you. But other than that, don't open that door.
In here. It's a fortune. Ain't nobody home.
Ain't nobody here, babe. But yeah, so like, you know, if like my mom's at work, she'll, you know, I would have to go to like those money order places and like pay the light bill or pay the gas bill. And she would always show us like, okay, you have this much, how much you paying for gas if you own this and da. So like she would like show us the budgeting and the bills and how to pay them. When I was like 14, 15, I would walk over there and like pay the bill, go home. So it was like little things like that she taught us on. So it was a lot of fun. And then, you know, when CDs came out, that was another hustle. And then she was like, well, you using my burning disc. Now you gotta. I was like, Mom, I'm paying for the CDs. She was like, yeah, but you're using my computer. Okay. All right. I see where we're going here. When I would do like the mixed CDs in high school and stuff. So middle school, high school.
Ooh, boy, you sound like a millennial. Mix CDs.
Yeah. The playlist.
I don't think
shout out to Napster and LimeWire.
You have the whole packet with all the CDs and the whole.
I had the whole like big CD-ROM, CDRs. Those were the ones you could record on, y'all. It was real. And then the CD burner. You would touch it if you had a CD burner in your on your monitor, right? On your tower. It was everything. Shout out to my mom for having the latest and greatest.
That's facts. I know for me, I will honestly say I don't have a memory of my parents ever talking money to me as a kid, or showing me how money works as a child. It was just more so like, we provide, you know, what you need. And, you know, we never really heard about the bills and all that stuff as kids. But the older I got, I started to kind of hear those conversations between them. And if they were arguing about either bills or if they were just talking about planning stuff, I will start to hear how they kind of finagle those things. But I can't remember direct conversations with me in terms of how to do it. However, the older I got, especially around the time that I went to college, my dad would talk more to me about financial stuff. So he'll tell me, never get a credit card. If you do end up getting a credit card, make sure that you can pay, like you have the money to pay it the moment you use it. So that way it does build your credit, but you're not falling behind on that, which was great advice. I didn't follow that all the way through, but I'm learning my way.
I didn't follow it at all.
But I learned my way. I have to figure out that algorithm too, but I've learned my way on that. And actually being a part of my church helped me to learn how to budget. So my dad actually told me to go to a couple of seminars that our church was holding about financial literacy and how to budget your money and how to pay off debt. And that's when I actually learned that, debt isn't good and you need to have this in order to attain wealth and all that stuff. So it was more so him directing me where to go to help me financially in the future, even though the lesson didn't come directly from them.
Yeah.
Which I think is just as good.
Yeah.
And for my mom is one of those people that like to spend it as she gets it. She'll tell you herself, like, as soon as the money hits her hand, she wants it gone. Like, she wants to be able to go out.
She's like,
your mom, my pops be best friends.
Right. She wants to go shopping. She don't want you to tell her what to do with her money. She's just really much that person. And I don't blame her. I'm going to say that. I don't blame her. I think, of course, money could be used in different ways, but, who's to tell you how to use your own money? But in terms of like learning financial literacy and stuff, I got it from outside sources the most, but it was from the direction of my parents saying, hey, if you want to know this, do this. If you want to know that, go over there. But, even investments, my dad told me himself, like, he's like, I don't know much about investments, but I know that's the way to get wealth. So ask around, ask the right people. You can talk to your uncles because they do it, but I know that's the way to get it. And once you figure that out, you'll be good. My dad was the one that taught me about retirement and 401k plans and things like that. He's always said, if your job has this, you need to get it. Like, don't just fall by the wayside and not let it, if you know that your job has this plan in particular, get it by all means. So, those little tidbits definitely help me where I'm at today in terms of making sure my future is set, making sure that I'm learning how to pay debt and things of that nature, but I'm still just trucking along and figuring out getting there, like actually getting to that level.
Okay. Yeah, for me, my mom, like I already told y'all, like she was talking about something, you can't bring it when you die tomorrow. I'm like, all right, like I'm not gonna die tomorrow. I'm not thinking about dying tomorrow. You can't take it with you when you go. Gotta like let me hold something. She was always borrowing money. She would spend her money and my little hard-earned money I was scraping by to get. She was like, oh, I'll get you back. I'll pay for the roof over your head.
Yeah.
So like for me, I really didn't have that. It wasn't until recently I realized my mom didn't have that either. So she couldn't really tell me information about saving or like investing or what to do with your paycheck to kind of make sure you can cover like all of your bills. So like for me, I think I learned it from my Aunt Carol by osmosis. Like I just watched her when she would sit down like once a month in the beginning of the month and just pay all her bills online. Like she would sit at the computer and do everything. She would have her bills next to her and she would kind of like go through each bill and like pay it as she's sitting there, and then that'll be done for the rest of the month. Like she also didn't talk about it much, but I like the things that she had. She had like nice car, nice house, like so I'm like, that must be the way. I gotta learn some finance. For me, I gleaned a lot from communication, like communicating with people who already had like good financial skills and money management skills. But baby, when I got to college and that Bank of America little setup area was there with that credit card, let me tell you something right now.
That's how they got us all.
I had like what, 5,000, 3,000 worth of credit card. I ain't have no credit. Like it was no credit history. I barely even had a little piece of job. And I had the audacity to get approved for a $3,000 credit card. Who did I think I was? And I was spending that thing like it was going out of style.
Bruh, I was at Forever 21 heavy.
Like for no reason.
Didn't have until after college. That's crazy.
Nah, I had a credit card probably like year 3 in, probably junior year. It was a wrap. By the time I was maybe 21, I racked up a $7,000 credit card. Yeah, because you know they up the ante. When you're paying it, they up the
Yeah.
ante.
They do up it. Yeah.
Oh man.
They
That was
do.
tough. I think that was my first lesson of
That's first back in your face, like
Yeah,
you
that's
what?
stress. Yo, that's
stress.
stress that
And then
jumps
that
on
interest
you.
rate, I was like, what is
Oh.
this interest? Like I'm paying, I was paying like $300, $400 a month.
Oh
And
my
I was
God.
like, oh my gosh, half of this is going to interest. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
why is it not going down? Like, why is it not going down?
Yeah.
Yep. You'll be like, I didn't pay for no interest. Whose interest?
Whose interest? Whose interest name? What's their last name?
Like, first of all,
Google
interest
them.
ain't had nothing to do with all this.
Yeah, I was like, hold up. Yeah, I had a life. That was a hard lesson to learn. That one was hard. After that, I said, never again. I will never rack up on a credit card again.
What are you doing to make sure that you keeping up with your financial well-being?
Now that I am grown a little, it kind of started with Kiki, honestly. Kiki was like, yeah, nah, she didn't like hire a financial advisor, but she took some courses and stuff like that. I think it was Budgetnista. And so I was like, oh, you know what? That's smart. So I started looking at finances, and then me starting my own business, they had a lot of people in the finance world that would come in and teach us some stuff about finance and how to reduce your debt. And you need to look at your credit every month. And then it started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because I like to read. So I was like, let me read a finance book.
Mm-hmm.
So I started with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then Richest Man in Babylon. And then after that, it was kind of a wrap. Like I became obsessed, and then I created like an Excel budget sheet and started paying down debt. And then then I started looking for a house. So that really had to force me to really look at my finances and what I can afford and my debt to income ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that gave me the bigger perspective of, I realized in order for me to really build what I'm trying to build, I have to address some things I never wanted to address. Like Gigi said, I gotta make some decisions.
Yes.
And so like eating out, partying, all of that stopped. Like I stopped going to clubs. I stopped going out. People like, oh, well, why can't you come out? I'm busy. That became the word, like I'm busy, because when you try to tell them like, oh, I'm not trying to spend money, they go back to like what Gigi said. Oh, well, you only live once, YOLO. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I only live once.
YOLO, your ass gonna be broke for the rest of your life.
Right. I was like, I saw something, I think it was in one of the books or something like that, but like you rather hustle now and like get rid of as much as you can now, so then later in life you can enjoy the fruits of your labor because you did all the hard work already.
Yes.
So I think my budget sheet, my Excel. If y'all don't use Excel, start using Excel. Excel is an amazing tool. I've been doing it for work. Work is nothing but Excel, but I'm telling you, you can do a lot with Excel with just the budget sheet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think some of them come with like budget templates, and you can so you can just pull that up, and the calcs are already in there and stuff.
Yep, I do the same. I started creating like an Excel sheet so that I can see like all the debt that I have. My debt is mainly just student loans, and I have credit card debt from when I moved, but I shouldn't have used the credit card to move in the first place.
Same here.
But yeah,
but same here.
Right. It's like I went straight to the credit card. I should have known better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use the Excel sheet to look at my budget, to create my budget, and then use it in terms of paying bills. Me personally, I had to start to get into the habit of paying myself first. So that was a big factor for me, because I was always so worried about, I got to make sure all my bills are paid. I'm not going to be kicked out on these streets. My light's going to be on. I've always been that person. But within the last 2 years, I would say I started focusing more on paying myself first, and then wherever everything else falls is where it falls.
Yeah.
So, but my issue mainly comes from just not having too much money by the end of the month. When all the bills is paid, I paid myself, I paid off credit cards, and then I ain't got much left after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm doing way better as time is trucking along in my financial status and financial literacy. Even with work, getting promotions and stuff like that, I'm trying to prevent myself from having to work 2 jobs in order to maintain a life. So that's what I'm focusing on right now.
Yeah.
That's good that you said that. Actually, it's so funny because I remember when I used to work like 3 and 4 jobs to make ends meet, and like I also remember the year I was like, God, I am never having to work more than one job to make sure that I can survive. And I finally reached that place and I'm so happy to be there.
Amen.
But for me to manage my finances, I have like this within my banking app. I have like 3 different kinds of banks, but one of my banks called Service Credit Union. It has a money management part of it. So you add all your credit cards to it. You add
Nice.
all your bills to it. Like it shows you everything together, and it even does your net worth for you. Like, so it'll do your net worth, it'll track how you doing with paying off your debt. It does how you're doing with your budget. Like if you're going over your budget, it'll send you like an email or a text. Like it's really helpful, and it has like a whole bunch of different things within that banking app. But that's one of the ways that I use to track, because they see when my account is about to get hit with a charge before I will see it. So they're very like on top of everything. Yeah, they're like, hey, you know what's happening? It's this charge coming.
No.
It's pending. This is what it's looking like right now. This is your income versus what you're spending. You're spending a little too much.
What you doing? Yeah, I did have an app. I did have an app like that. I think it was called like Intuit or something. I don't know. I forgot what it was. But I realized I wasn't checking it the way that I would check like my bank account every day.
Oh, is it Inuit?
Inuit. There you go.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
I have
it
off,
has
y'all.
to be a bank account. For me, it has to be a bank account.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be attached.
Yeah, because I look at the thing like every other day, literally.
Yeah.
Faithfully.
Yeah.
Something like that might even help me. Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, I'll send you my little affiliate link for Service Credit Union.
Listen, go ahead and send that, player.
And
slide that through.
That bank is international, so whenever you're traveling, you don't have to worry about your card being like obstructed, or like you don't have to worry about anything. If you're ever staying overseas and you want to pay like an overseas bill, you can just pay it online with them, like all that kind of stuff. So with that in mind, like having that tool, that money management tool, it also helps me track where I am in my financial goals. So I have like my 1 year, I have my 3 year. I don't really do 5 and 10, but maybe either one of you do. Like, what are your goals for that? Like, how are you preparing yourself for that? Or where do you see yourself if you even look that far ahead? Like,
what I learned is, and I think even creating 30 in a Mess has humbled me. My family told me this. They were just like, you focus on the future too much. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like you're not understanding where you are right now and what you have. So I've decided this year to focus on today. Then when tomorrow come, and then next week, and then next week. So to your point, like I can plan out the whole week, and so I do the same with finances. Like, okay, what are all the things that I need to get done? So then I can budget that, and then what can I save? What's my goal to save? What can I do and not do? And if I need to do it, for instance, like a wedding, like if I'm invited to a wedding and somebody I care about, like I'm make it to the wedding. Those are like pop-ups sometimes, like, oh shoot, okay, that's in a few months or something like that. Okay, what can I give up? You know, it was our centennial year because we're in a sorority. It's our 100th year. And I had to give that up because I was like, I'm going to Africa and I have a wedding and I still have Christmas and Thanksgiving and all this other stuff. And I'm trying to pay off this debt. So this $500 can go here or it can go there. So I'm kind of just doing the year, I guess I would say, not even next year. And then I was like, I'm gonna pan it out and then reevaluate, like, okay, how did I feel about that? Did I turn out okay? Or should I focus on a 2-year, 3-year plan? So that's how I'm doing it. I'm like, I'm just focusing for the year and see where I get.
Oh, okay.
I would say I'm a mess. I'm a little all over the place. So for me, the way I've always attacked my financials is month to month. Like I've never been that type of person. I will look in the future and say, oh, 3 months from now, I'm going to have this or that, just because I'm just trying to get through the month.
Yeah.
So it's more so for me, I would be like, okay, let me pay my bills, and whatever's left is what I can use to either maneuver debt or maneuver some type of I don't know, like going out if friends want to go out and things of that nature. Or if I have to travel, whatever else is going on that pops up, that's what I will use the extra money for. And then if I have nothing else with the extra money, then I'll use the credit card. What I've started doing now is just strictly looking at the money that I have. So if the money runs out, then that means all activities cease then. And I still don't even think that's a proper way of kind of tackling finance.
Money run out, I'm missing my ass down.
There is food at home. That's when that starts to come out. Now I'm actually starting to try to plan for a future, so I have something to look forward to. So now for me, it's like I said before in the beginning, I want to be debt free by the time I'm 35, and I want to be financially free by the time I'm 40. So for me to set goals for my future, now I can start to map out my money in that aspect so that I can obtain those goals. So I have to start to map out certain things. I have to start putting things aside for if something goes wrong, so that way I'll have the money for it, and it still won't derail the track that I'm trying to get to in terms of being debt free. Not only that, I have a wedding to plan for, so having to make sure that I'm financially savvy for that. It's just, it's hard to say I can plan for 5 years from now, and there's things going on right now that I have to focus on, and trying to figure out that balance of staying on track with what I want 5 years from now, but having to deal with today's problems, with today's bills. And that's not to say that I wouldn't get promoted. That's not to say that I'm not going to make more money. That's not to say that I won't decide to pick up another job later, but I have to think about what's going on right now today.
Yeah. I see both, like being in the now, being present with what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
I get that. But for me, I have to have some type of vision, because if not, my money is getting spent. You hear me? I'm spending this money. So for me, my goals would be something like, for example, I don't have specific number goals, but I do have specific behavior goals. So within the next year, my goal is to be able to have money that I literally set aside for stocks and investing. Then for the following year, that money will be for investment properties, for income. And then the following year after that, the third year would be for strictly traveling. I hope by that time I can be more financially ready to leave the 9 to 5. We'll see. I like that.
Not hopefully. You will. Just speak it.
Thank you. I like that 20-year idea, but when I think about it, like right now, I'm so like I'm in my career. I've been in my career, but I do want to experience life. I also want to experience I want to experience life and love is what I'm essentially trying to say without saying, because I feel like the relationship conversation is so like exacerbated. I don't want to talk about it often, but I feel like with my position now, like if I was to get in a relationship, like I would sacrifice that relationship, because that's not guaranteed. Like if I go in for my 40 to 80 hours a day at my job, I know I'm gonna get paid. Like I know I'm gonna be able to take care of myself. With this other human being, if I go 120 with them, like it's not guaranteed they're gonna be able to be there to support me. Or
wait, hold on. So let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
let's get into it.
So, and I was gonna go into this after what you said, but I think it ties in well. You're depending on somebody who can fire you on the spot, the same way that technically you can invest in a relationship too, and in your life. So when you say, I want to invest in my life and love, you're still investing more in a job, because to your point, you're like, that's guaranteed, but who's to say it is?
No, with that, that's on your resume. You be able to get another job. Like it's not like you can't put a relationship on your resume. Like that's not
though. I think you can. So
tell me more.
So this is what I'm saying. So to your point, you have a job resume, you have a love resume, you have a life resume.
Okay.
But I don't feel like we utilize those resumes as much as we do a job, because our mindset is that a job is always guaranteed. But we're looking at that as a positive. So what happens is our life is the job is always guaranteed, no matter what the job is, because your positive mindset of no matter what happens, shorty gonna have a job, then no matter what happens, shorty gonna have a job. But when you're looking at your love resume, you're like, that's not guaranteed. That's not guaranteed. So that same positivity that you have for that job is not in your love resume. So of course it's not going to be guaranteed because you keep telling yourself that it's not guaranteed. And the same thing with life, right? So, and I say that because I resonate with it, because that's what I've been doing for a long time. But as soon as I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just live. My love resume is just as good as my job. I am wealthy. I am healthy. It's going to work out. No matter what happens, it's going to work out. And we say that, and it does always work out. But I do think we put more energy in certain other things where we're like, oh, this is guaranteed. And then we go, oh, that's not guaranteed, so I'm not going to invest in it as much. And of course, it's going to turn out that way because we're not investing in it as much. So it wouldn't turn out no type of way.
I hear you. But I've seen relationships where the woman was guaranteed on the man, and then he divorces her or he breaks up with her, and now she has nothing.
Right. But the same thing with a job though, right? So it's like I put in 20 years and then the company goes bankrupt and they're without a job and now they're homeless. Now it hasn't.
What I got money saved on the side. I got, like, what are you talking about?
But money runs out. Let's say you don't get a job for like 6, 7 months.
But if you have the skills that you know you have to like manage money, that shouldn't be an issue for you.
But here's my point is it shouldn't be an issue because you're going to make sure it happens. So what I'm saying is life happens. So for instance, the woman who got married, that happened.
It's been more than one scenario that I've seen this in.
That's fine. But it's been more than one scenario where somebody is very wealthy and then they end up broke and homeless because life happens. What I'm saying is life happens. And those are things you cannot control. To your point, I'm a hustler. I'm going to get a job regardless. But you're a hustler, you're going to get a job regardless. That's your point of view. But there are people who are hustlers and they're going to get a job regardless. But it's maybe at Burger King because there's a freeze in their area of where they are, and then they can't move or they can't do this or they don't know people outside of the states. Like worst goes to worst. Like we always said, we can go home. We can go home to Connecticut. There's some people who don't have that option of going home to somewhere or doesn't have a friend who will open their door to them. And so they're homeless for a minute, but that wasn't their agenda to be homeless. That's never anybody's agenda. It's nobody's agenda to be divorced. That wasn't where they were going. But what I'm saying is life happens.
Yeah. And
when life happens, how are we going to look at it? Are we going to say, okay, I was divorced before, I never want to get married? That's what you choose to do. Or you can be like, I can try love again and see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm saying that is at my job, I've been crossed so many times, not at my current job, but I've been crossed so many times in corporate that I choose to keep my ideas to myself. And my boss, my not my recent boss, but my boss before was like, why do you do that to yourself? Because you're putting yourself down knowing your intelligence. So, but why? And, I told him and he was like, Clarice, that was your past. And you gotta let it go. He was like, you gotta let it go. And mind you, this is my boss saying it. He was like, I believe in you and I see your potential, but only you can pull the lever. And if you choose not to pull the lever, then you will feel that the rest of your job career. But if you choose to let that lever go, the possibilities are endless. And he was right. Once I did that, I flourished. But the choice was up to me to trust a company again. Because I don't trust companies. I don't. They will use and abuse you and then don't pay you for it.
And treat you like a dirty sock after.
For real. But I think he allowed me to have that confidence of being like, you can do it, but you have to own it though. You don't own it and tell yourself what you're worth. No one else is going to see what you're worth. And I was like, dang. Words and actions are different. And I realized putting it into action made me realize that the words are powerful. Because we hear it and we see it in these memes all day. But I think living it is different.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was wordy, but.
No, but I didn't think of it that way. I'm going to take that up in therapy because I don't know. Because I feel like I feel like maybe because I have so many years of practice with finances that I feel like financial gain is easier to obtain than it is for like relationship, like love, like a lasting love gain, I guess.
That's
I'm
fair.
gonna
Well,
take
for
that's
me,
what
it would be the opposite because if anybody knows me, I've always had relationships, but my money was never right. I've never had issues with getting a relationship. So, like she said, it really is all about how you view it and how you approach certain things. But it is the same thing. Like for me, I have no, like if my relationship, I have a whole fiance that I'm about to get married to. If we did not work out tomorrow, I'm gonna be heartbroken, but I'm gonna get back up. You know what I mean? Like that would be my mindset. Like, yes, that's gonna hurt me to my core, but it's not that he's the end all be all of life, because I can find another relationship. But with money, it's like you said, maybe because you have more of the practice in money, you feel the more of the stability with obtaining a job and obtaining money, and that's where you're more comfortable with. But it's all the same thing. Like as long as you put the effort and mind to it, it's going to occur, it's going to happen, and you have to be okay with that leap every time. Like if it doesn't work, okay, that did not work. Lick your wounds and be okay with moving forward.
Yeah. But I don't be hurt when I lose money. I'll be hurt when I lose a relationship.
Girl, I be crunching when I lose money. That's the part for me. Oh my God, $100.
Money. You can't have emotions with money. You can't have emotions with money. But y'all see, I think 30 in a message. I think this is a perfect paradox, or I guess a yin yang, where you realize, Gigi's talking about I don't have a problem with finances. Not problem, but I'm not worried with my finances, but it's because she's emotionally not as tied to it. But again, her mindset is different from where Kiki's like, nah, I'm emotional. I'm hurt when I see that negative. There's a problem. Gigi's like, I'm gonna figure it out. Kiki's like, what the f- is going on? But I think this is the perfect example of exactly what we're trying to explain of the mindset of it, and vice versa when it comes to love. Like the emotions are different on both spectrums where they're talking about. So it's interesting how we can learn from each other.
It's interesting. Like I said, like the reason why I started, why I wanted to be a part of 30 in a Mess is because like I wanted a sense of normalcy, and the fact that you're able to see how we're both on opposite spectrums of what we're exactly saying the same. Like we're strong in one area, but then that other opposite where it requires that kind of emotion is different. So like my emotion, I'm able to enjoy money because like I don't have emotion tied to it. Whereas Kiki, she has emotion tied to it.
Like, oh
my life. But she's able to enjoy a relationship, whereas I'm not able to always enjoy a relationship.
It's the flow. That's all I see. It's the flow. Like money's gonna come to me. Money's gonna come to me. And Kiki's like, love's gonna come to me. Love's gonna come to me. So, that's crazy.
Well, shit, Kiki, can you bottle that up so I can wash in it or bathe in it or something?
Listen, Kiki has a lot to sell on Amazon at this point.
My credit card.
Girl, you can give me the keys to the finances. I'll give you the keys for love.
Well, let's swap. We'll swap. We'll show each other the way.
I got the keys.
We'll show each other the way. But what were some of like the podcasts or social medias or like the self-help that kind of helped you realize for you, Beleza, like what helped you realize that it needs to be balanced, and what also helped you realize like the financial piece of it? Because that's my money don't match my swag is where we at right now. So
I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with y'all. It was my friends.
Wow.
It wasn't the podcast and the books and everything came because of my friends. For instance, I told you in the beginning, Kiki was like, yo, I gotta figure out my finances, Bustanista, da 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 da. I was like, oh, whatever. I'm just gonna live life. And Kiki was like, nah, like for real. When she was like, I'm trying to be debt free by 35, I was like, shoot. To your point, like my money's flowing, but I was just like, I guess I didn't think about it that hard. When do I want to be financially free? And technically, if I really want to be financially free, and I think I'm financially free, but I'm not, I got to start working on it. And then Alyssa, my homegirl, my mentor, my big sister, my line sister, she always spoke up of finances, and she was in the banking industry, and the way that she maneuvered and how she conquered her finance debt. And I mean, shorty is 7-figure winner now. You feel what I'm saying? But
Wow.
I saw the progress, like
Mhm.
in within 5-year span. So to what Kiki's saying, like, I'm gonna be debt free at this, it first is okay, that's the words, and then she's putting action behind it. And I realized, like, I have the words, but I'm not putting action behind any of it. And then when I had my job, when I started my first business, then there was a lot of friends there who was talking about finances, and it just kept happening over and over and over. So again, mine didn't come from the internet. It came from my surroundings. And that's when I realized, like, yo, your circle it really is your wealth. It really is your wealth. And so they kept talking about finances and buying a home, or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And I'm like, what do I want? And how do I conquer that? And where do I start? And it started with conversations with my friends. Oh, well, you should buy this, or you should think of that, or, you should really try to read this book. Or like Kiki was like, look at Budgetnista. I looked at her, and then I got into books, because I was like, I'm more so of a book person. So then I went that way. But I think it was my friends.
Wow. Thank you to our friends.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because I was singing that song earlier before we got on the podcast. Like when we had to mute our mics, and I was singing that song. I kid you not. That's wild.
Yeah, it's really my friend and my family. Like I said, my family, they was moving and grooving, and their credit score was not mine. And I was like, how do I get that credit score? Because shorty not getting approved for no credit card.
Lord. But I do have to applaud Beleza, because once she started putting the actions to her words, she started going off on paying off debt. Now she got a home, just getting really closer to that financially free lifestyle. So, that's, I definitely applaud you, because that's hard to do, easily said, but it is extremely hard to do. And I'm shocked she got it from me, because she definitely surpassed me.
Yeah, but it started with her. And that's why I was like, I really tell people, I'm like, your friends will make you wealthy. They will make you wealthy.
That's that.
I tell people all the time, I was like, it started with Kiki.
Look at you out here, Kiki. Look at you.
Yeah, I ain't even know.
She out here making many millionaires and whatnot.
Yeah, for me, it started in church for me. Like I said, my dad always gave me words of wisdoms, but I didn't actually apply those things except for the credit card. I actually had not get a credit card until after I finished college and was like kind of starting life. So I didn't have a credit card throughout college and stuff like that. But when he told me to go to this church financial seminar, it was somebody who was teaching the church how to budget to pay off debt. And that's what sparked it for me, because when he put in perspective our student loans being a huge part of our debt, and I was like, man, I got like almost close to 100 grand in student loans. Like, I got to get this together. I didn't even realize that can hinder so much for myself. So that's kind of what sparked for me. And then when I moved to Georgia, I attended another church financial seminar, which it was centered around Dave Ramsey. And I know a lot of people probably heard of Dan Ramsey. He's like the financial guru on YouTube. A lot of people direct themselves to him. I do feel like he's outdated in some things. However, his basic things work. If you listen to just the basics of what he's saying, it absolutely works, especially for people who are not don't have any form of financial literacy whatsoever. He definitely helps those type of people. So once I kind of got into those classes and followed those principles, that's when I learned about paying myself. I learned about focusing on paying off my debt, and then I can start to focus on paying off other things. And it worked. Once I kind of settled down and actually put the actions to those, I looked into Budgetnista. Budgetnista is when I learned how to budget. So when I did Dave Ramsey, I more so was doing just paying, like I was just so focused on paying off my debt. But in the Budgetnista actually taught me how to budget my money for the month, where I can still pay myself and pay off the debt as well. then I started to just read certain books. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I started to read Dave Ramsey's Money Makeover is a great book.
Oh yeah.
Anything Anthony O'Neill is a great tool. He more
I
so
like
speaks.
Anthony O'Neill.
Yeah, I love him. He speaks to millennial money, like where we are today and getting and he speaks to student loans and things like that. So listening to him, I listen to his podcast and his YouTubes every day. Listening to friends and family, like how they're in terms of investments. I've started to listen to my older sister. She started teaching me about investments and what I need to do in that aspect. And then just going back to my dad's principles on 401ks and actually asking HR, like, what does this mean? And how does this work? And what is it like? Where does my job fall if I go this route? So just right now I'm in a place of putting it all together. So all the pieces are on the table, but I'm literally formulating, putting it all together. But those are all the things that I used to get myself here. Because before, your girl was wild. I was just out here. I had money wasn't going anywhere.
Out here showing our ass.
Okay, but now I'm actually telling my money where to go. So that's the difference. There's a difference in just paying off your bills and maneuvering through life. But now I'm at a place where I'm actually telling it where to go. And I'm actually okay with, I know this is bad wording, but I'm actually okay with being broke at the end of the month because I already told my money what to do and where to go so that it can do it for me. And I'm just going to sit here and watch it work and grow for me.
That's a good kind of broke, though. That's a good kind of broke.
That's a good kind of broke. I'm not homeless. My bills are paid. I got money in the bank in terms of like pushing towards my savings. I have a retirement plan in place. Yeah. I feel broke because I can't just go on vacation tomorrow. I can't.
And just for transparency, I want to add something to that. And the reason why I always say Kiki is because this was a few years ago, but she kind of checked me because she was like, I mean, you make more than me. You should be able to be doing it. I was like, oh,
that's facts of life. If I always say if I had no money, I'd be debt free.
He was like, you shouldn't be struggling because if I had what you was making, I definitely would have been able to make some moves. And that put everything in perspective. I was like, oh shit, for complete transparency. So I was like, all right, okay.
Touché.
Yes. And so again, I think that's why I always use the term humble so seriously, because I'm like, your friends will humble you real quick.
But I like friends are supposed to keep you in check. Friends are supposed to hold you accountable, because how else are you supposed to grow? How else are you supposed to develop and get better? And sometimes we need a reflection that talks to us.
Yes.
What about you, Gigi? You listen to any book? You read any books or listen to podcasts?
I mean, I tried the book route. Like I did Rich Dad Poor Dad. He was okay. I did Richest Man in Babylon. I also read the Science of Money. Those have been helpful, but for me, I gotta apply it. I mean, it's not the same. Like getting information and not applying it right away doesn't really help me. So I'm just doing what I do. Like I literally have like a method of how I pay everything. My next books that I will be reading will probably be investment books, because I'm paying everything, but I don't want to rely on my paychecks. I'm trying to spend money like a drug dealer, and I can't do it.
That's right.
Because my bag ain't matching my swag.
That's right.
But I think that's where we'll probably start having people come in and talk about investments and things like that.
Because enough with the saving. If one more joker tell me to save $3.25 on a damn cup of coffee to keep my savings up, I'm gonna start fighting.
For real.
I'm gonna start windmilling. I don't care if they're not talking to me or nothing. I'm just gonna start windmilling everywhere. But no, like I gotta increase my income, and I always say that like it's not about being able to afford things. Like prices are going up exponentially. Are going up. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Say it again.
It's really not. And so the fact that the economy went up 400%, but your income only went up 4%, like that's not helpful. I need to figure out a way to invest so that I am making at least that 800%, so I can spend in this crazy economy without being hurt. Like and not hurt like emotionally, but like, you know, when you don't have enough to like get what you want, so you kind of just like look at it and walk away. I don't get that anymore. That's not what I want over my life. So
gotcha. So what would be y'all takeaways when it comes to finances, or what would you tell your younger self or the 30 and the messers?
oh my God, learn your financial blueprint, because what you have accepted as truth or as belief, it really does act out in your everyday life. Like you will see it. So find your financial blueprint so you can know where to start and where you need to improve, and then go from there. After that, like definitely get a stable job, a stable income. I don't care what nobody say, like start stable, start somewhere stable, and then I also took away like your friends are gonna hold you accountable. So like even though you have that stable job, don't be out here spending like you got it like that and still spending paycheck to paycheck. Like that's not okay. And then once you get that stable job, once you already got how you pay your bills down, look into investing, because you're not gonna be able to outwork this economy. Like no matter how much income you make, and if it's not making enough for you to survive, you always gonna be scraping by. You always gonna be the one like, damn, this gas is high. Oh, this gas high. Like, you should be able to just pull up to that gas pump, pay your gas, and go about your business. Because what you gonna do, not pay the gas and then walk everywhere? That's not a reliable option. That's what I took away from that.
No, you're right. Everything Gigi said. For me, for the people who are just starting out, because we're all in different phases in our lives. For those who are just starting out, discipline and consistency in your environment. Because going to the club is expensive. You not getting in before free and not drinking any drinks. That can go a long way if you still want to hit the club up. But let me tell you something. It's not going to help your pockets. So I would say be disciplined in what you want to do and can afford, and then try to save as much as you can. The little stuff go a long way. You're not doing your nails at home as opposed to getting your nails done.
Yes,
that could save you between $60 and $150 depending on where you go.
Big facts.
That's money. That's money, believe it or not. I'm not saying like a cup of coffee like Gigi, because that's not gonna change. Like $3 it's not gonna make the biggest change. But little things like that, or going to brunching every 2 seconds. Like, y'all, that's a good $100.
Not every 2 seconds, yo.
Every two, at least in Atlanta. I don't know where y'all live, but people want to go to brunch. We going to brunch. Listen, we go to brunch this coming Sunday. You feel me?
Brunch this afternoon.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this just brunch on top of brunch out here. So it's like we gotta pick and choose what brunch we going to. I'm not going every Sunday, but catch me once a month. We can make something happen, because brunch is expensive. So I would say, like, start with that, being consistent and disciplined and creating your life. Because once you do that, nobody can like force you. What's the
force feed you?
The pressure. Yeah, the pressure of your friends. Like I said,
peer pressure you. Pressure you into spending.
Peer pressure. Thank you. And then your friends, again, your environment is very important. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I was like. That's why I asked the question of the wrap up. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got.
Yeah, I would say your environment is definitely a big portion of that. Make sure you're around the right people. I will say being broke is hard. I'm going to say that right now. Being broke is hard. So make sure that you are ensuring your future. If you can do a Roth IRA immediately, like, I mean, when you hit 18, 19 and even if you put $20 in that thing, that is going to set your future for life. You're going to come out a millionaire by the time you are 40, 50 years old. So definitely start a Roth IRA. Definitely pay yourself first. I will say that. And do your research. Like, a lot of people just like, oh, my family didn't teach me these things. So what? We have too much resources out there. Too much technology. There's too many books out here. There's too many podcasts with free information. Do your research. If you know that you want to be a millionaire, look for how do I be a millionaire? And you can find so many sources on what you need to start with and put those actions in place early. Like, if you can do it soon as you get your first job, do it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I got for that.
Yeah. For right now, that pretty much wraps up. That our money don't match our swag, but we working on it.
We working on it.
I ain't swaggy with the money, but I'm gonna get there. That's all I got.
When it comes to our money, we still in shambles, so it's all good. We gonna make it work. We gonna figure it out.
We are. And so thank y'all for tuning in and listening. We love y'all so much. Make sure y'all check us out. Make sure on Wednesday you check out Gigi's Gems, Beleza's Music Box, and then Kiki's Corner before the next podcast episode drops. On 30 and a Mess on all social media platforms. Check out our website too, our link tree, whatever. It's 30ANDAMESS. Don't forget that tag. We love y'all, and we gonna check y'all out next week. And you guys have a wonderful week until then.
Oh yes, and don't forget to chime in about where you are financially as well.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We love y'all.
Bye.
We love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.